Kokilavan, Mandala, Uttar Pradesh, India.
Kokilavan lies 3 miles north of Nandgan. The forest takes its name from the kokila bird, which refers to the black-colored Indian cuckoo also known as koil. This particular cuckoo has a loud shrieking call, cuckoo, 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 repeated in crescendo 4 or 5 times during the summer, usually in the early morning and late evening. One day Krishna came to this forest in order to meet Radharani and the gopis, but due to the ever-watchful eye of Jadila, Radharani and the gopis could not leave the house. Understanding the situation, Krishna began to call the gopis by imitating the melodious song of the kokila bird, which inspired all the other kokila birds in the forest to start singing, thus creating a tumultuous sound that could be heard for miles. The Bhakti Ratnakara says, "To the west of Yavat is a forest where one may hear hundreds of thousands of kokilas sing. One day Krishna entered this forest and happily made a sound just like a kokila bird. In response, all the birds began singing so loudly that the sound was heard in Yavat. Hearing the sound of the kokilas, Jadila told Vishakha that she had never heard such songs from the kokilas. Vishakha replied that if Jadila would give them permission, the gopis would go to see the kokilas in the forest. Jadila then told them to go and listen to the birds, and thus Radharani with her girlfriends entered the forest. In unlimited happiness they came here, and thus Radha was able to meet Krishna, who was engaged in making sounds of the kokila bird. For this reason this forest is known as Kokilavan. How to get there? You can go by taxi, or if you want to use public transport then, at Kokilavan in Vraja go to the other side of the bridge. Public buses pass from that route to go to Kosi, charge around Rs. 25 per person. Then you can hire a auto to take you around Kokilavan, or you can go to Nandgan and hire a auto to take you around Kokilavan. Please note the buses are not in a very good condition, but we are expecting improvement in future as Uttar Pradesh government is working on improving the transport facility, and also it is the most economical option. I would like to mention the below pastime again, which I have already mentioned in my other video. Javat, Vraja Mandala, UP, India, as Sri Radharani was in Javat and Lord Krishna was waiting for Sri Radharani in Kokilavan. Subala is the younger brother of Chandravali, and the son of Chandrabhanu. His face is the same as Srimati Radharani's. One day in Kokilavana, which is situated north of the village of Javat, Krishna called Radharani's name by playing on his flute. This sound had a special quality that no one except Radharani could hear. When Radharani heard Krishna calling her thus, immediately she became very enthusiastic to go to Kokilavana to meet with Krishna. Unfortunately her mother-in-law, Jadila, was sitting at the door of the house. Radharani could not leave the house, and thus she felt deprived of Krishna's association. Krishna was waiting along with Subala at a kunja in Kokila. He was extremely eager to see Radharani, and from time to time he would leave the kunja and look in all directions to see if Radharani was approaching. Returning to the kunja he would wait for some time, then again he would leave the kunja and look for Radha. So much time passed, and still Sri Radha did not arrive. When Krishna saw there was no hope for Radharani to come to him, he became very impatient and loudly said, "Ha, Rad! Ha, Rad!" and fainted to the ground. Subala held Krishna in his lap and, wiping tears from Krishna's eyes, tried to pacify him. Subala said, "My dear friend, my heart is breaking to see you in this condition. Please tell me, how can I help you? What should I do now?" Krishna embraced Subala and caught hold of his hand. He told Subala, "My dear friend Subala, if you have really understood my sorrowful situation, then you should go immediately to the house of Jadila and somehow or other bring Radharani here to meet me. I cannot survive without meeting with Radharani. I will wait here eagerly until you come back with Radharani." When Subala heard these words from his dear friend Krishna, he said to him, "As per your instruction, now I am going to Javat. I will try my best to bring Radharani here to meet with you. But you must wait here with patience until I return. Please do not faint again. Now, let me go." As Sabala was preparing to move, Krishna embraced him strongly and said, "Dear Sabala, please go, bring my most dear Radharani as soon as possible and save my life." Sabala hurried towards Javardhan, the house of Jadala. When he arrived, he was loitering outside the house of Jadala, looking here and there. Seeing Sabala, Jadala called to him, "Oh Sabala, why are you around here today?" Sabala offered his humble obeisances to Jadala and said, "My dear grandmother, I have lost one of my calves, and her mother is crying for her. I asked so many people if they had seen her, and one person told me they had a calf wandering on this side of Vraja, near your house." Jadala felt very compassionate towards Sabala, and prompted by Yagamaya, she said, "Yes. It is so. But Sabala, your face is so red from wandering in this heat. Please go into the cool house, there you will see the assistant of my daughter-in-law. She will give you water, and you please rest for a while. Then after some time you can go searching for your calf." Sabala was very happy to hear this from Jadala and immediately entered the house. He went straight to Sri Radha's rooms and found her sitting on the floor with her head in her hands, crying. Lalita and the other Sakhis were pacifying her. When Srimati Radharani saw him, she said, "Oh Sabala, from where have you come? Have you seen Lord of my life?" Sabala said, "Krishna and I have been waiting in Kokilavan for you. Since you did not arrive, my friend Krishna became very worried for you. In separation from you he is crying while uttering ha, Rad, and fainting again and again. Why did you not go to meet with Krishna? He has sent me here to bring you to him. He is waiting eagerly for you. Come." Radharani said, "Sabala, just see how my mother-in-law Jadala is in there at the door with a stick in her hand. In this situation, how can I go out of the house and disobey my seniors? Although my mother-in-law is not able to see perfectly and I could very easily escape her, still my sister-in-law Kokila is very tough with me. She is crooked by nature and always eagerly waiting to find some fault with me." Radharani looked at Sabala with tears in her eyes. "My Lord Krishna must be waiting in Kokilavana and suffering in separation from me. I know it very well. But what can I do? I am helpless. I cannot go out of my house to help my lord, who is lying in a faint on the ground. You cannot understand how painful it is for me to hear from you that my lord is suffering in this way. Please go back to the forest immediately and pacify him by explaining the reasons I have not been able to meet with him. Go quickly. Do not delay here for a moment." Sabala replied, "Rad, if I go back to Krishna without taking you with me, then Krishna will only suffer more and he will leave his body in separation from you. That is what he told me when I left him in the forest. In order to extinguish the fire of separation that burns within both of you, I have made a plan. Please listen carefully. Sabala lowered his voice and spoke quietly to Srimati Radharani, "I will dress you in my clothes. You will go out of the house right in front of Jadala and still she won't recognize you. Then your Sakhis will decorate me with your dress, and I will stay here in the house." Radharani clapped her hands in delight and said, "Sabala, thank you so much for your nice idea. I am very happy to hear this." Her brow wrinkled as she thought, and she added, "But there is a problem with this. I can wear your clothes, but my hair is so long and my breasts are raised high. How can I hide this? Please give me some idea. If Jadala recognizes me when I pass by her, then I will be in great danger. She will never allow me out of the house again and I will never be able to meet with my Krishna. Sabala answered, "Dear Radhika, do not be worried about this. I have already thought of a solution to your two problems. Please listen carefully. First, your Sakhis will pile your hair on top of your head and cover it with my turban. Second, when I was coming to your house, Jadala saw me and asked me why have I come here. I told her that I was looking for my calf that had wandered from the herd. So, I will give you one small calf. You hold it to your chest, thus disguising yourself further. Do not be worried that your mother-in-law will recognize you. I will dress you so perfectly that no one will recognize you as Radha, they will think you are Sabala! When Radharani heard this plan from Sabala, she was in ecstasy. When the plan was finalized, Lalita dressed Sabala in the blue sari of Radharani and adorned his body with her ornaments. She put vermilion on his forehead, black kajal around his eyes, and a lata on his feet. Behind Sabala's head she put some artificial hair. She dressed him in a blue blouse and stuffed it with cloth to create artificial breasts. She put bunches of bangles on both his arms. When the Sakis saw Sabala, whose features were identical to Srimati Radharani's, they all started to laugh and clap their hands in delight. Then Lalita took the cloth of Sabala and dressed Radharani. Then Sabala piled Radharani's hair on top of her head and covered it with his turban. Radhika wiped the sindura from her forehead, the kajal from her eyes, and the alata from her feet. Because Sabala was the brother of Kandravali, his appearance and color was just like Radharani's. Now Radha was looking just like Sabala. He gave Radha one small calf to hold, covering her breasts. Then, remembering the lotus feet of Krishna, Srimati Radharani slowly walked out of the house and through the main gate, right past Jadala. When Jadala saw Radharani she thought, "Ah, Sabala is going back," and called out to him, "Oh Sabala! Did you drink water? Did you find your calf?" When Radharani heard this, she simply replied, and left the place. Then she proceeded towards Kokilavan in order to meet with Sri Krishna, the Lord of her life. In Kokilavan, Krishna was eagerly waiting for Sabala to return with Radharani. But suddenly Krishna saw Sabala walking alone, without Radharani. Krishna thought, "I sent Sabala to bring my most dear Radharani with him, but he has returned unsuccessful. What has happened? Maybe her mother-in-law did not allow her to come out of the house? Maybe she is not able to come out due to some engagement or household activities. Maybe she has come across some other great obstacle?" Thus imagining different reasons for Radharani's non-appearance, Krishna became very worried. Thinking all these things, he started towards Sabala, eager to understand why Srimati Radhika was not coming. Radharani, in the disguise of Sabala, was looking at Krishna and floating in an ocean of ecstasy at the sight of him. But she did not reveal her own identity, eager to see Krishna's own eagerness for her. As she came close to Krishna, he said, "Oh Sabala, you have come alone. Where is my Radharani, who is more dear to me than my life? Where have you hidden her? Why are you giving me more pain by not revealing where she is? What kind of enjoyment are you deriving by giving me so much pain? If you have hidden her somewhere, then kindly bring her here and save my life." While Krishna was speaking this way, Radharani came very close to him and, in the voice of Sabala, she said to Krishna, "My friend, as you ordered, I went to Jadala's house on the pretext of searching for my lost calf. I saw Jadala. The old lady was sitting at the gate holding a stick in her hand. I went inside the house with her permission, and there I saw their Radharani crying, her head hanging down in misery. She was crying in separation from you, unable to leave the house. All the Sakis including Lalita were counseling her. When Radharani saw me, she asked me where I had come from and whether I had seen you. I explained how you are suffering in separation from her. I told her that because she had not gone to the forest that day, that you had sent me to take her with me. Then she replied, "My mother-in-law is sitting at the doorstep. I will not be able to go out of the house." Then I came back without any success to inform you of these things. When Krishna heard this hopeless news from Sabala, he said, "Oh Sabala, you know all kinds of tricks. Whenever I send you to bring Radharani, you always manage to bring her to me. Never before have you failed. Why have you not succeeded this time? I cannot survive in this world without her. When I sent you to bring Radharani, I told you that if I leave my body from the pain of separation, then please give her my peacock feather, flute, and ganjamala. Then Krishna started to cry loudly, uttering the name of Radharani, "Oh Rad! Oh Rad! Oh my most dear Rad!" When Radharani saw Krishna's desperation, she could not control herself any longer. She put the calf on the ground and removed the turban from her head. Immediately her hair fell loose and hung down her back. When Krishna saw that Sabala was actually his beloved Sri Radha, he embraced her with affection and took her inside the kunja. After their loving exchanges, Radharani left for her house. By that time Sabala, who was still in the dress of Radharani, had come out of the house along with the Sakhas on the pretext of going to the Yamuna to fetch the water. Srimati Radharani met her Sakhas and Sabala at the Yamuna and changed out of Sabala's clothes and into her own. Sabala then went back to Krishna in the forest and Radharani went back to her house, holding the water pot in her arms and accompanied by her Sakhas.
Radha Kokila Bihari Mandir.
Shani Dev Mandira, dedicated to the demigod of the planet Saturn, where large crowds gather on Saturdays, the day on which Hindus worship Shani Dev. All the demigods Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma or Shani Dev work under the direction of Lord Sri Krishna. They are great Vaishnavas. Devotees of Lord Krishna offer their respects to all the demigods. When we serve Lord Krishna, all the demigods are automatically satisfied. We don't have to worship them separately. Accidentally photo and video got deleted. The 9 planets are collectively known as Navagrahas. They are worshipped in Hinduism for good luck or to overcome adversity, bad luck or misfortune arising from past karmas or birth-related defects, doshas. They are found in most Hindu temples either grouped together on a panel or on a pedestal in commonly visible areas of the temple. The 9 planets, namely the Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, Rahu, and Ketu. The 9 planetary gods have a great significance in Vedic astrology. Hindu astrologers draw the birth charts of individuals based upon their position at the time of their birth. Depending upon where they are located in the astrological chart at a given time, they exert positive or negative influence upon people and their destinies. The position of Sani, Rahu and Ketu are especially considered important. Of the 9 deities, 7, Sun, Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus and Saturn, are named after the planets in the solar system, and correspond with the names of the 7 days in the week of the Hindu calendar. The remaining 2 deities, Rahu and Ketu, are actually demons who managed to gain a place in the pantheon through an act of trickery.
Suryadev, Navagraha Temple, Kokilavan. Shri Chandradev, Shri Mangal Dev, Shri Buddhadev, Gurudev, Shri Shukradev, Shri Shanidev, Shri Rahudev, Shri Ketudev Mandir. Shri Shanidev के गुरु बाबा श्री प्रखंडी वनखंडी जी महाराज, कोकिलावन, गिरिराज मंदिर कोकिलावन। कोकिलेश्वर महादेव,
below are the details of my other videos. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Sri Gauranga.